I'll just align it nicely. So this combinator here, it just tells us, it's just an F map, but it ignores the right hand side. So it uses just the value from the left side. Okay? And this combinator here is basically OR. Okay? So parse this or parse that. Okay?
What do you import for that?
So yeah, you need to import control applicative. I can, just to be explicit.
Does one take precedence, or is a command a slash? How does it know to do the command before it thinks of it?
The way to right now is to do the first one. You can try the first one.
Yeah, it will try the first one, and then it will try the second one. And yeah, so let's have just that. And now the JHC tells us that we are not handling all the actions with the pattern matches are non-exhaustive warning. So we go here and show items. It does not accept any arguments. So the model stays the same, but we want to perform some actions. In fact, we want to reply text with, well, with what? Well, we want to take our model, or maybe even to do items from the model, right? And want to convert them to the text. And then we probably want to do nothing, okay? So now all we need to do is to come up with a function that takes all the to-do items and somehow presents them, right, as a text. So just let's have an item, have a function called show items. Okay. So basically, for every action type, we have a corresponding function that modifies the model. Okay. So it takes a list of to-do items and returns some text. Yeah, so we have some items and want to produce them. So how do we do that?
Show lines.
Show lines, mconcat, all the good options.
Oh yeah, that would suck. Never mind.
Yeah, I would probably use like so. I would probably go over here and import qualified data text. So that I could use the operators from data text as text. All right. And now I would use text on lines, which will take a number of texts, a list of text, and display each one on a separate line. So I can just use text on lines items, and that should work. Yeah, so it's import qualified data text as text. I'm sorry. So as text here. So now it should work, right? So let's go check. Who thinks it should work?
By our initial action.
Right. So if we use show, we got it. So yeah, it actually interpreted our command as just text. So that happened because we first parse text, and command is just a special type of text, right? So what we need to do is just switch the places. If we do that, okay, so nothing fancy there, and we run our Telegram bot. Now, if we like add some items, and we use add some sleep, and we use show. Now we actually get a list of things to do. All right?
You should show one with that.
Yeah. Which part?
Support.
What error? Okay.
Probably reverse the list before you show it.
Sorry.
It's appending in the list.
Yeah, it is appended in a right in the other direction, but it's it doesn't matter. And for now, like it's easier for us to manipulate lists. So, all right. So you can make that more fancy if you want to, but we'll get to that later. All right. So what else do you think it could be useful for our bot? So it can record some items to do, and it can display some items to do. What do you think is the
We asked for time.
for the time? Like for which time? Like what time is it? Is it right now?
/time.
Yeah, we can do that. You want to do that?
Depends on how complex the.
No, it's not complex at all.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you want to name the action?
Get time.
Okay, get time. So it does not accept any arguments, probably, right? So you do get time. Oh, right here. So this one should be the last. I will separate it with an empty line just in case. And the comment would be like time.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we just so the compiler tells us that we need to add this to here. Get time. So the model goes unchanged, probably, right?
By the way, what are you using on the side to get it to?
It's GHCID.
Okay. Is there another way to just have it run? I guess.
Yeah, there are multiple. Yeah, I think there was a line about that in the preparation. Okay, so and we want to reply text with some time, right? And then do nothing probably. Now, how do we get the time? So to get the time, we need to perform I/O, right? So there's this that. Okay, so first we need to import another import data time. It's just import data time, nothing fancy. Now when we have imported data time, we can use get current time. So get current time, let me show you in GHCI here. So get current time is just an I/O action that returns current time in UTC. Okay, so we can just do that and get the current time now, right? So if we do it like that, it will the compiler will complain that get current time has to be performed in I/O context, but we have bot.m context. So this is a common problem for various contexts, and bot.m actually supports I/O, and we need to lift the get current time action to the bot.m, and for that we are going to use lift I/O. Lift I/O comes from another import. Control monad trans or control monad class I/O. This one is shorter. So control monad trans is just from the transformers.
And it's lift I/O.
Yeah, it's lift I/O. Get current time. Now we have the time, and all we have to do is to display it somehow. So we can use something like text pack of show now. So because show will return a string, but we need the text. Okay. We're just converting this to text. If we run the bot and ask it for time, it should display current time in UTC. Okay, so it's not really hard except for 2 extra imports because we didn't have any I/O before or time management. Okay,
hard part would be converted to like the current user's actual time locale. The Telegram kind of expose that information.
I think it does. You can see here. No, it doesn't. No.
Yeah, but how do you know where they are? Like you could do the current time where you're serving them.
Yeah.
Could you just really quickly remind us the operator smaller than hash? Exactly. Sort of,
Okay, smaller than hash is just a useful operator when you have only one impure action to do. Because if you have more, you might want to use more do blocks like that, and then you would have a slightly more complicated syntax perhaps. So I just found this.
If I have more actions, could you give an example where I have more actions? Like, could that be just the limitation? Like, more things that you can count?
Yeah, you can have a job for your bot to do that. So you can ask a bot to do some task that actually requires several tasks to be performed. So there will be several, like in parallel, happening actions. So the actions do happen in parallel. So
I see. Okay. Because that in limitation to the sequential, but you can have them like run in a parallel.
yeah.
So we can have the bot get back to you and that at some point, like you can have a conversation for a while and then have it say also that task interaction,
Yeah, for asynchronous tasks, there is this bot jobs. You can also do that with actions, but it's mostly it's better to do with scheduled jobs, right? So you probably don't want to handle all the time deltas with actions. Okay, so the next thing probably that makes sense for the to-do items bot is to mark items as done, right? So how do you suggest we can do that?
Delete them.
Delete them. Nice. How do we do that in code? So yeah, we sure can write the mark done item or remove item, right?
Comparing by text, or we need some sort of identifier?
Well, we can compare by text for now. I don't know. It's just a list, so we can just so we have item and we have a model with some items. We can just to do items will be just filter anything that is not an item, right? So leave only those things that are that are not the item we want to delete from our to do items model, right? So that's the logic. Pretty simple. How do we use the actions and the model and the update parser? How to update our bot to perform this task?
Give each item an index and then ask to remove item and see if it
Yeah, we can remove them, remove item by index, right? So we can just
Should that model be header letter? Like you have remove item and then you can try it. Isn't that like
oh I'm using record syntax so that if model has any other fields, they are untouched.
This is where lenses would be used.
Yeah, but this is not a workshop on lenses, right?
I was just wondering, like.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep things simple. Yeah, of course you would use lenses, right? So you can remove by index, and that will be like take -1 model. Oh. like that. I think I got it right. I think there is no combinator to delete at a specific place.
No, I would make the item be a record.
Oh, a pair. Okay, we can actually, well, if we would want to complicate the model, we can use like hash map, and we can use UUID or GUID, or we can use a database, and we can just occasionally write and read from that, or we can use whatever, or we can use acid state, or we could use whatever. So, sorry? Yeah. Yeah. So here, if I use take and drop, there is no exception. It's just leaves things as they are. Yeah. We could add some error handling. Let's do that. So, which one should we use? Like by index or by title? I would use by title because that's probably easier. I'm not sure. So let's just have this. So we can just check if item is LM of items. Then we can have left and some error, right? We'll come up with the error message in a second. So, and otherwise, we have a model, and here have items. Yeah, right, exactly, not LM. And here we're going to have right model, and the type is going to be either text model, right? Let me get that on the next string, next line. Okay, now LM items, and we now have to define items. I'm not sure if, so items is to do items of model. Okay, so now how we do, how we handle this is we, of course, we add a new action, remove item by like to do item. Okay. Now we go to the case, to our big case, remove item, and here we can do case. Okay, let's get that on the next string. Case remove item. Okay, remove item from model of left and some error message. Then we can do leave model as it was before, and reply text like no such item, and we can use like oh, basically no, we just reply within error message. Okay, and if we get the new model, basically the new model, then we just have the new model with no actions. Okay, and here we have to pure do nothing, or maybe in a more complicated application we want not do nothing but report the error or do something else.
Could you show just the remove item function?
Remove item, okay. Remove item. Here it is. And yeah, and we probably should use some better error message here, like no such item. And item here. Okay, so the this operator is the semigroup or monoid append operator. If you're on GHC 8.2, you have to import data monoid for that to be in the scope. Okay, for me it's unnecessary, but you have to use that. Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, here's the remove item. Yeah. This. All right. So it's just a simple function that removes an item from a list, and if it cannot do that, it reports no such item and gives the name of the item. All right. Now what's missing in our bot is we don't actually call remove item action anywhere, right? So we have to add a comment for that. We can do that here. So just remove item. And that's comment remove. Okay. Yeah, and it does take the argument, so we do need the right angle bracket. Okay, so I've just added this line: remove item, fmap, comment remove. All right. So now we go to the GHCI. We run this. We add some buy milk, get some sleep, conduct a workshop. Okay, so we can now show. So it shows us the list of things to do, and then we can remove. For instance, we can remove buy milk. Okay, so on the right hand side we see that incoming remove item by milk, and well, it did remove an item, right? But it did not report to us. If we try to remove something that's non-existent, then we get an error message, no such item. Okay, so probably what we want to do with the remove item is, if we do get to update our model successfully, we probably want to report that, right? So we can do like item removed, right? And we can actually what we can actually do here is we can show the current state, like the current state of the item list, right? And for that we can just issue show items action that will route back and display all the current items. All right. So if we go back here, we can do again buy milk, get some sleep, conduct workshop, and we can then remove buy milk. And let's see. Item removed, and yeah, it took a while because of the wireless connection. I understand. So it removed an item and it displayed us the current state of the item list. All right. So we can add a lot of stuff to our bot. So probably something useful. Let me just go to this. Which stage? A timer. We'll do that probably in a bit. So now in stage 6. Yeah. So most bots in Telegram, they do have a start message. Like when you first start to interacting with the bot, it displays you some help message, and it's useful to have that one. So in stage 6, we have this start message text. Let's put it right here. So it's just a text that tells us that it's a personal to-do bot and so on. So we just add a start action. We add a start command, right? The start, and when we when we handle the start action, so the model stays unchanged, and only thing we do is we reply text with a start message. Okay, and we do nothing. So it's a very simple action, but it's very helpful when you're writing a bot. Okay, so now if we do start, it does display this text, this helpful text, and it showcases the example comments that we can use. Like we can use show, and these comments are clickable. And of course, we don't have anything to show. I think it didn't work yet. Did it work? Can I? So when there are no items to show, we don't show anything. So that's probably not very good. We could add some message there, but let's not stop on this. Let's add something more interesting. Let's add a reply keyboard. So reply keyboard is something that's basically like helper keyboard below this message field. That suggests you some inputs for you. Okay, so when we first start interacting with our to-do bot, it can actually suggest some initial common to-do items, and we can have a reply keyboard with that. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, yeah, I think it's in stage 7. Okay, so there's a start message keyboard. So just so that I don't have to type this, I'll just copy this and explain. So start message keyboard is a reply keyboard markup. This is a data structure that's needed by the Telegram API, and it has some reply keyboard markup, which is just a list of lists of text messages, and that will appear under the message box. And I also can tweak some parameters, like I can resize keyboard, I can have it one time so that it closes after the first time, and this option I don't actually recall what's about. So there's that. So it's just a data structure that represents a reply keyboard. The main stuff here is this list of lists. So it's fairly easy to see that I have like a few suggestions here in bundled into 3 lines of buttons. Okay, so now how do we use that? So to use that, we need to use not reply text, but a more rich reply. So what is a reply? So reply takes a reply message, and a reply message is a data structure with a lot of fields. I'm sorry. So like it has message text, but it also has like parse mode, so you can use like markdown syntax in your text. It can have disable web page preview if you have any URLs in your text. It can disable notifications, so it can send you silent messages. If your message is a reply to another message, you can reference that and it will show up as a reply. And you can add a reply markup. So reply markup is one of many things. So let me show you Telegram some reply markup. So it's either an inline keyboard markup, which is displayed right below the message. It is either a reply keyboard markup, which is displayed below the message box. It can also be a reply keyboard remove action, or force slip reply, which basically enters the stuff for you in the message box, and you only have to hit enter. All right. So we're interested right now in reply keyboard markup. That's what we have defined as our start reply keyboard. And we want to reply. Okay. So to not deal with all the other fields, we're just going to convert the text message that we have, which is start message, to a rich reply message. And then we are going to just tweak one thing. We are going to reply message reply markup is going to be Telegram is going to be just because it's a maybe, and then Telegram some reply keyboard markup, because that's where we are choosing which kind of keyboard we're using, which kind of reply markup we're using. And then we have to provide the actual reply keyboard markup, which we have as start message keyboard.
Where's start message keyboard?
I've just copied it from the stage 7, I think. So, yeah. So it's a fairly straightforward structure. It just has a few symbols to type, so I just copied it from the stage 7.
Gotcha.
Okay. So now it does compile. We just go here. So that's the only thing I have changed so far. I've loaded the code. I'm running the bot. And now if I type start, some seconds go, and then I have it. So these are the options that the bot suggests for me when I hit start. Okay, so there's the help message, and this is the reply keyboard. And I can just use any of these, and it will immediately issue a message. It will get saved, and it's closed after the first use, but I can reopen it with this button here. So, and it's it can be pretty easy to add some stuff there, and I can use show, and I can remove co-parents, and everything works. Right.
So how strong is the API? Can you like invite this bot to a group conversation?
Yeah.
Say you want to just I interact with a lot of like foreigners all the time. So somebody says 39F, and can the bot just be listening all the time to all the
yeah.
all
So
the
so
like 39F is whatever C.
yeah. So the reply there just replies in the chat where the update came from. So if it's a group, if it's a channel, if it's anything, it can reply to that. It can be personal, it can be group, right?
Hey, could you explain, so when you type here, that sends what an HTTP request to Telegram, and then I'm not entirely understanding with your app, is there a callback, or how, could you explain how that works a little bit?
Okay, so internally it does update polling. So it retrieves updates from the Telegram server from time to time, and then converts them into actions, put those actions into a queue, and the queue gets processed. So we have a model like in a variable, in transactional variable. So use STM inside, and it's like that. All right, so how much time do we have? We have some time. All right. So what I actually like about Telegram is that it allows you to have these really lightweight interfaces. And what we actually use Telegram for at our company is we automate some of our internal processes. Like we deal with ads. So there are some processes involved in ads, in reporting and negotiating before the ad is aired. So we can structure those business processes as basically finite state machines, and the model here in this application is basically your state, and the actions are the transitions, and it's fairly simple to organize all the process in pure functions, and just add some communication using Telegram. And why Telegram? Because it does have these keyboards, these customized keyboards that are very useful. So the reply keyboards are not so useful, but the inline keyboards are really nice. For instance, instead of just listing all the items, we could turn each item into a button. And if we then press that button, we can then decide what to do with that particular item. And that simplifies things. It's still not like a full-blown HTML application, but it is lightweight. It does not allow many stuff, but it allows some stuff, and it really helps to automate those business processes I was talking about. All right? And so we have some time, so let's go for it. Let me see where I have it. Show items. Where do I have show items? Okay, so I have okay, project print. So here in the stage 8. So let me just go through the code in the stage 8, not just copy that. Okay, it has some stuff in there. So there's this. So in stage 8, there's pretty print items, which basically does the pretty printing like we have had before. Instead, although here we handle the empty case and we add some more stuff in there, but it's basically the same. And here is the inline keyboard for items. So what we do here is it's just the same. If there are no items to show, we just say that there are no things to do yet. And if there are, we have this edit message, which is like reply message, but more useful. I will tell you why in a sec. And it also have a reply markup. And instead of a reply keyboard markup, we use inline keyboard markup. And that actually consists not just of some text, but of buttons. Okay, and here is how you construct one button. So you use the action button with some title, and you assign some action to it. So what it does is basically creates a button with an assigned action, Haskell, like our action there, right? So, and there's reveal item actions in there. So for every item, we create this button, and the attached action is reveal item actions. Let me just import the code from there. Stages, stage 8, and run the main from there. Okay, and so I get start. Okay, there's some timer on the right hand side. Let me just do it like this. So I can just add some things, some more things, and some more things. Okay, so now I can show this, and instead of just a list, I have a message, some things to do for you, and a button for every item on the list. Now, what I can do in Telegram is not only reply with new messages, but I can also edit previous ones. And this enables me to do things like this. Like if I want to do something with the call parents item, I just click on it. Yeah, it takes some time. And then the message changes. So I have picked the call parents item, and I can do some stuff with it. I can mark it as done. I can set a reminder in 1 or 5 minutes, and I can get back to item list. So I can set a reminder and go back to the items list.
Are the reminders a part of the Telegram API, or is that something you're planning?
No, I have implemented it right here. Okay, you can implement it in the library too. I will show you just right away. So that's what you can do. It's not much very different from the reply keyboard. It's just that every button has now an action attached, and how it what it does internally. What it does internally is it uses the show and read for actions to send them to over the network. Okay, you can use anything else. There are helpers that where you can use custom conversion functions. You can use JSON. You can use anything you want. It's just, for me, it was convenient enough to do the show. Okay, so that's that. Oh, I've closed the bot before it could remind me. Okay, never mind. So the code that we have created for our Telegram bot is not actually perfect. So if I just, where am I? Okay, so let me just maybe start a new group. Like LambdaConf 2018 Telegram workshop. What's with the interface? It's too big, I guess. Okay, so new group. Oh, context. Okay. So I want to invite LambdaConf 2018 bot. Next, and I call it like that. Create group. Okay, I'm just creating a separate chat with the same bot. Okay, so now if I run my bot, and if I do like if I ask the bot personally, like buy milk, get some sleep, it will of course save that. But if I go then to the group chat with the same bot and I ask him to show me what to do, it will show me the same list, right? So you see the problem here, right? So the problem is that the model is shared among all the conversations, and that's not good. That's not something that you want. All right. So how do you work around that? So I think Haskell has some very interesting solution to offer here. Like I have not seen this approach done in Python library or any other library. The approach is basically the same as with the tracebot default. So the tracebot default is a modifier that you apply to a bot application before you run it, right? So there is also a in Telegram bot simple. There is also this combinator called conversation bot, and its type signature is a bit like this. Okay. So what it does, it takes a function that tells the bot how to distinguish conversations, because there are actually many ways you can disambiguate conversations. You can disambiguate them by chat ID or by user ID, or well, it's about updates, right? You can have a separate state for the group, or you can have a separate state for each user in the group. That's different things, okay? And then it takes a bot that you have written for just one user, and it makes it into a bot that can handle multiple conversations at the same time. Basically, it uses a hash map that goes from maybe conversation to a model. So for every conversation, it has a separate model, and every action now gets assigned a conversation that's it going to. Okay, and that's just a function. So it does just change all those handlers and parsers in a way that allows you to easily go from one user to all the conversations. All right. So if we just cancel. Okay, it's too big. Sorry. So if we go to the to our bot, and if I add a conversation bot modifier here, right? So it tells me that it has to, and I have to specify how to disambiguate various conversations. And there is update chat ID helper somewhere. Oh, maybe it's in Telegram. Yeah, it's probably in Telegram chat update chat ID. So that's a combinator that extracts chat ID from the update. So now, if I go to the, if I load the code and run the, is that correct? Why is the, okay, yeah. So now the initial state is from list empty list because we now have a hash map for our model. And if we,
Like a top level model.
yeah, we can switch trace and conversation bot places, and then we will get traces for all the users. But here we can see that the model is now a hash map, and for this chat ID, we have this model. And if we go to a separate chat, like here, right? So, and we run by milk here, or maybe get some stuff done. Yeah, it just takes a while for the network. Hello? It does not respond for some reason. So, yeah, it responds here, but not here. So that's weird. That's not happened before. So there is chat ID, there is show items. Okay.
And it didn't show anything, which is, oh, that's wrong.
So the chat, sorry?
The chat ID is negative.
Yeah, that's okay. It's negative for groups. It's like the first bit they use to disambiguate groups and personal chats, I think. Okay, so that didn't go as expected. You can connect to the bot and see if you can have a conversation with it. So it's LambdaConf 2019 _demo _bot. Can you try that?
Is there such a thing as a private bot? Like if anybody, like if somebody just in the world discovered the name of that bot, could they not invite it to conversations? And...
They could.
Okay.
Like, I don't think there is such a thing as a private bot.
Okay.
So yeah, you have to manage permissions in your bot application.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I see that. I see here that a few chats have appeared, and even the group chat has appeared here, but somehow with an empty model. That's because it only processes the show, not the. Maybe in the group, I think I have to add the bot. Like this, maybe. Not sure. Okay, I'll figure this out. So yeah, so that's the idea. Now, let me just quickly go to the Telegram bot simple library. So it's still under development. It's it can be used for many things, but not all yet. We do use it at our work for some internal stuff. But hopefully you've seen the approach that we take with the building the Telegram bot, and how pure functions and ADTs are basically the core of building a bot. There was also some applicative style parsing that is useful to parse updates. And the thing that I like the most is these combinators like conversation bot, and there's also like some other useful combinators in here, like trace and use the latest update in jobs, so that jobs know where to reply and stuff like that. So
What about you change the topmost model from that model that it redefines to a hash map, including that thing?
yeah.
And then in the handle action, it was still operating over the model that we defined rather than the new hash map model? How did that work?
So basically you can go to the conversation module and see how it works. So it's not a lot of code. So the initial model is empty hash map. But then when you handle an action, so now remember that now actions are actually packed with the conversation ID. And now you can go to the hash map, and if a model is there, you can update it. And if it's not there, you can just insert a new one and update that one.
That's really nice you kind of just like abstract away the fact that your combinator can do whatever the heck it wants to the model and still use the same functions you wrote.
Yeah. That is the nice thing I like about this. So in the Python library that I've been looking at, it has this conversation stuff baked into the library. You cannot use a custom conversation ID, and if you would like to add something like tracing, there's no combinator for that. So it's only the default stuff they provide. So I find this very nice in Haskell that it's possible to do. All right.
Explain one more time why you're using F.
So F, so basically want to keep my modal updates clean, pure, because I don't want, because it can become messy. And especially if you want to go from a one user bot to a conversation bot, which handles a lot of conversations, you want to perform all those updates, in parallel somehow, and you don't want any nasty impure effects to affect that, right? So it is still possible to make this into variable and to work with that. You can have, as your model, you can have your own TVAR, and you can go with that. Of course you can. But for most things, I think it's if you work with it purely, it's more cleaner, it's more easy to understand. Okay. So the app,
Is there
right?
concurrency? Like if you have this thing running a ton of bots and you're doing the TVAR model, like TVARs can handle the kind of concurrency issue. Is this app thing going to be able to handle things?
The app thing is okay, but TVAR, I'm not sure. I haven't tried to run this with the millions of users. We don't have that.
Yeah.
As I said, we are using bot internally, so you have to test that. Yeah, but you can like change the implementation from TVAR to something else. It's doable, and as I said, you can have, instead of some value, you can have TVAR of your own or a set of TVARs, and you can optimize there. So. Okay. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.